Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Building HVAC Science. This podcast helps to create better, more knowledgeable HVAC and building performance pros. And we think we achieve this by helping the two professions better understand one another and learn. The ultimate goal is to help our listeners create better environments for all people. Today's episode, Roman Baugh, third-generation tradesman, educator at Kalos Services, and prolific HVAC content creator, joins Eric and I for a lively conversation that starts off with, I'll let you figure that out when you listen to it. But we land on some deeper stuff: curiosity, service, parenting, and learning in public. Roman traces his roots, as most of our guests do. His started off riding along on service calls with his dads. It's a story we've heard very often. And also getting humbled by his first big VRF job, and then running into the fire to master the technology instead of avoiding it. Now, this mindset has led to him teaching, factory-level troubleshooting, and community building. Roman closes this episode with some practical encouragement. And again, I just would like you to listen to this and to hear it from the descriptions he gives, kind of hear it right from the horse's mouth. I do like a couple quotes from this episode, two of them from Roman. One is, if it helps one person, then it's worth its weight in gold. The second one, stop asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I'm amazing at this? With that spirit, let's get into this episode to hear from Roman Baugh at Kalos Services.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Building HVAC Science Podcast, where my good friend Bill over here and myself, we talk about a lot of stuff, and we have a lot of great guests. And today, I don't know where ours is. He seems to be in hiding, but his name is Roman Baugh. Have you seen Roman around here anywhere?
I don't know. Where in the world?
Hey guys.
What the?
Wow.
When you called me yesterday asking me if I could be on the podcast, I thought I'm just going to go ahead and grow a giant mustache because nobody can up mustache Mr. Kaiser himself. I didn't want to feel too intimidated of being on the podcast.
I guess everything grows better in Florida.
Like humidity in the sun, man. We're just so close to the sun.
It's all that humidity they have down there. It just makes the mustaches sprout.
No, it's horrible for indoor building conditions, but for outside on growing mustaches, clearly it's great.
My first reaction was I felt compelled to buy a used car at this moment.
And you say that, but actually I do have some steak knives if you're interested that we could cut open aluminum cans in a couple seconds.
Maybe we'll do a part 2.
Are they sharp?
Oh, they're very sharp. Laser precision sharp, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, but thank you for having me on, guys.
I've been out mustache today. I feel like I need to go grow some more mustache.
I was going to say, I don't know how you do this at all because it is a lot.
You get up in the day and you just let it grow.
Is that what it is?
That's what you do.
Put your pants on one leg at a time?
I have been literally asked, how do you grow that mustache? And I'm like, I don't shave.
It's funny because I know some guys who have mustaches, obviously, but nobody it's like a lost art, the art of the mustache. There's different styles and techniques and clubs out there, I'm sure, but it is something that is like a man's man thing.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
There's wax and no wax.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
I can't do the wax. I have a very sensitive olfactory nerve, and any smell like right here just sets me off all day. Can't do it.
I'm trying to convince him and he won't do it, but I want him to get where you can actually get it to we get some curls out of it, where we get a curly Q on the end, spiral it. Do like a star design or maybe like the True Tech Tools logo, something like that.
So I'm going to suggest this shift in topic. Otherwise, this will be the mustache episode. We will all remember this for a long time.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Oh, man. No, you got to start off. I mustache you a question.
I've been somewhere laughing right now really hard.
Somebody just swerved off the road listening to this.
I think we might actually have to put this out as a video episode, this whole thing. I know we're going to get some clips out of it, but we might have to put this whole episode out as a video.
So, Roman.
Yes.
We sort of know you, but tell us your backstory. How did you get to this point where you're working at Kalos and have 3 jobs?
I think it's 4 now. Maybe I'll take on a 5th tomorrow, but you never know. It's one of those weird stories. So I am an unusual person because, well, naturally so. I work here at Kalos, but no, it just attracts unusual people from what I hear. That's the stick that Brian gave me when I came to work here. But for my career, I am a unicorn because I am a 3rd-generation tradesman. So my grandfather owned and operated his own electrical and mechanical business. And my father, after he left the military and was a police officer for about 15 years, decided to also get into the mechanical industry and got his license and certified and all that stuff like that. And so he ran his own mechanical company for a while. And unfortunately, he passed away when I was 19. I was fortunate enough that when I was homeschooled, I used to do like 4 or 5 days worth of schoolwork in like a day. I'd be up to like 9 o'clock at night. I'd start like 6 in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, just so I could ride in my father's truck with him to run service calls and do crawling under houses. I mean, it was the coolest thing when I was a kid. Looking back now, it might have been considered slave labor or child labor. What is that? Might have broken some rules here, but I'm grateful for it because I feel like it gave me this work ethic at a young age to see that the fruits of my labor and the hard work that I put in actually amounted to something in the technical side of things. And so when he passed away at 19, his business license went under, his company went under, and I tried to do everything but air conditioning for a short period of time. I tried doing auto mechanic. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not a good mechanic. When it comes to automobiles, I tried screw packing at minimum wage for like companies like Lowe's and Home Depot. It's probably the worst job I've ever had. Hats off to people who actually do stuff like that. But finally realized that my calling and my technical mindset and my passion is in HVAC. And I just kind of ran away from it from the pain of losing my dad. And so I got back into it. And in a matter of just literally 3 years, I went from being an installer to service technician to a field foreman over a multi-million-dollar project over at UCF in Florida. And then from there, it just kept working hard and applying myself and learning things along the way. I had a lot of great teachers throughout my career that just got me to a service coordinator position, to a service manager position, to finally getting into the field of doing business ownership with a business partner. And then from there, working for the factory, which I thought was the ultimate goal in my career at some point, and realizing that it's just not all that it's cracked up to be. It has its own caveats, if you will. So then from there, I landed here at Kalos, and I'm super, super happy here. It's not just Kalos, but it's HVAC school, as you guys know. It's a ton of different things. It's the Grit Foundation. It's everything that Kalos has its hands in, and all the people who are here at Kalos. And you guys know. You know the staff here. You go to the symposium every year, and you see it. The people that you meet, the people that you interact with, they love working here. And you don't know what it is or why or what's in the water, but you just want to be there. You want to be around these people. And so I have never worked at a company like that before. And so
I heard they put that water in the drinks at the HVAC school symposium.
Yeah.
Because they want to get more people.
The problem is it wears off too soon. We're still playing with the formula. And so we got to get to
point well taken.
Here. Yeah. They want to come back again. Yeah. No.
So what you're saying is you need to bottle that water and ship it out everywhere?
There we go. Business number 5.
You mentioned working with your dad, and sorry to hear he passed away when you're so young. But I know you through Facebook, so we're friends on Facebook, and you seem to be carrying on this tradition, this work ethic tradition with your kids. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, not too personal, but...
Nothing's too personal. I've learned along the way in creating my own YouTube channel and all this other stuff that just help people. The bare bones of it is there's information out there that no one really knows or has that's safeguarded by a lot of manufacturers, or maybe just is lost along the way. That getting that information out there, you just can't have a closed door mindset when it comes to stuff like that. And so my kids, yes, my kids. I've got 4 boys, ages from 8, 6, 3, and 1. And everybody keeps asking me if I'm going to catch up. And the answer is no, I will not catch up to Brian Orr. Let's go and get that one out of the way real quick. But it's one of those things where as you see your children grow, as they get older, you see that they get this sprouted curiosity. There was a seed planted that you didn't know was there, and you've kind of lightly watered it, and it's gotten a little bit of sunlight, and it's starting to poke through the soil. And when you see that spark of curiosity, and we homeschool our kids, you can't help but just be amazed by it. And you want to do nothing but whatever it is they're passionate about. If it's trains today, we're going to go get all the books they have at the library about trains. We're going to go see a train. We're going to go touch a train. We're going to learn how they work, the different kinds of trains. And so seeing that and then exploring that and seeing just the joy that it brings them and the pure curiosity with no stress and everything's just been unburdened. They just want to learn. It's contagious. It's refreshing is what it is. And so my kids, naturally, they love to talk about air conditioning. They love to touch, play with, work on. They know all the tools in my tool bag and what they're called and what they're used for, even though they don't use them correctly. And so it's just one of those things where sometimes I have to remind myself, as maybe annoying as it might be, that this curiosity, it's something that you want to nurture. It's something you want to encourage. And although it may be at the worst time or maybe the inopportune time, sometimes you just got to let it all go and just remember that this is what it's all about, just nurturing that curiosity. I've seen my 6-year-old turn into like a better me already. He wants to build electrical circuits and play with my oscilloscopes. And he wants to create things from ideas that he draws on paper. And it's just, man, it's just wild. It's crazy.
And Just to continue that line a little bit further, you seem to bring that spark of curiosity and wonder and almost joy to the videos that you do. And you bring a lot of clarity when you do that. I mean, you just seem to like keep it fresh all the time. Does that where it comes from? Your experience and then what you're passing on to your kids and you're passing on to the world?
So most of my videos, you'll find I don't have any structure. I'm a very chaotic, creative person with
Is that what Kalos stands for? Chaos?
Yeah, chaos.
Drop the L.
With a K. You got to keep it fresh and original for the kids. And so it's one of those things where because I'm a creative, chaotic, and my wife keeps everything in line and straight and organized, and I drive her crazy and vice versa, which is how marriage works. It's great. It's one of those things where people will ask me questions. My technicians will struggle in the field. Someone will struggle on Facebook. Someone will randomly reach out to me from across the world asking for help. And I try to do my best to just drop everything that I'm doing and help. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about helping people. I'm not getting paid for it. They're not getting any kind of monetary gains from that, although there are services I charge for from a professional standpoint and whatnot. It's just one of those things where like, if I was that person, and I've been that person, and I still am in a lot of situations where I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea how to fix this problem. I've never even seen this before. I didn't even know this existed. It's one of those things where it's like, if I can be the other person on the phone, on the email, on the messenger that actually gives the information clearly enough to where they can use it to benefit them, to fix the problem, why aren't I doing that? A lot of the videos that I create on my YouTube channel and that we put on HVAC School, they're real questions. It's real people asking those questions. And it's me trying to think, well, if I was in that situation, and I have been, what was the information I needed? And how do I clearly relay that where it's not just like a service manual where it's 17 chapters of Chinese to English mixture in there where it doesn't make any sense. That's what I try to just focus on. But yes, no, I'm very passionate about it. I found that chasing my passion in the industry has been the best thing I have done with my life. I've chased money. I've chased dollars. I've chased titles. They're all useless. They're meaningless. They don't have any value. What I have found the most valuable thing in my career is just helping people and following that passion. And it's brought me here with you guys. It's brought me here with Kalos, with the Grit Foundation, with working with people like Ty and Brian and people who actually care about other people, which sadly it's not a thing that everybody has right now, unfortunately, in the industry.
So obviously, I'm going to say that you probably get a lot of that curiosity just from growing up, from being exposed and allowed to have that curiosity. You talked about getting a whole bunch of schoolwork done in one day so you could go ride with your dad in a truck. Ironically, I can relate to that, but that's a whole different story. And we're not talking about me here. We're talking about Roman and the rise of Roman. Could this be the rise of the Roman Empire?
Maybe the fall. I think I'm like stumbling down the stairs sometimes. And then maybe I fall up a little bit and then it's back down.
Maybe it's the roll of Roman.
There we go. I can go with that. Yeah. It's very hilly sometimes.
The ups and downs of Roman. But anyways, do you think that curiosity level really stemmed from what you were exposed to growing up or how you were exposed to it?
I think that plays a part of it. I remember one distinct moment because everybody in the trade now had a spark somewhere, whether they realize it or not. There was a spark. It's no different than any other hobby that we take on. We saw somebody doing it and we thought they were really cool or that looked like a lot of fun. And so we started doing that, whether it's golf or airplanes or whatever it is, like motorized airplanes. And for me, that distinct spark in my memory, it was a cold Florida day. Go ahead, say it. It's not really, that wasn't that cold. It was
73?
Like,
70.
Yeah, no, it's 73. Yeah, no, just kidding.
They might have got down to 68.
That's why I paused because I knew they were just going to get all these in there real quick. And so it was probably like, I don't know, 45, which is like parka weather here for us. Don't send your kids to school weather. And so my dad, we went to a house. I remember exactly what the equipment was. It was a Rheem Classic system. And this woman had been without heat for probably 2 days. She had called another company and they didn't fix it. They tried to sell her a new system and they just said it's not repairable. And I remember my dad handing him the screwdriver and him taking off the front panel. And when he took off the front panel, it was probably in my mind like the worst wires, rat's nest I've ever seen of just like, there's like a million wires in there. It looked like he was diffusing a bomb. And I was sitting there watching him. And after I saw the woman that was in distress, she was an older, elderly woman. She just was desperate. And I just remember him having such confidence and talking to her about how he was going to fix it. And he went in there and he just was pulling wire nuts off and pulling wires out and handing me stuff. And again, like I'm this kid looking at him and I'm like, he has no idea what he's doing. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, why is he diffusing this bomb? And he put it all together, and lo and behold, and my dad was old school. When I say old school, he was the kind of guy that would literally, the manual long time ago, where you lick your fingers and you touch the high voltage wires to see if they have voltage. I've seen him do it many times, actually. And he got that from his father, being an electrician, which I don't recommend, by the way. And he grabs this one wire nut and he puts these two wires together, and the unit just fires up like that. And it just turns on, and there's hot air blowing, and she's so happy and excited. And the part that I think really sunk in there was that he didn't even charge her for the call. She didn't have any money. She didn't have much. And it was just the right thing to do. And so seeing him do that, seeing the joy it brought her, seeing him do the impossible that made no sense to me, it just created this spark inside me that I was like, I want to be that guy. Like, I want to be the guy that goes out and fixes the impossible. And so to the point where, and this seems crazy, but when I was 16, I actually had the color coding of thermostat wires and heat pump wires, like what wires are what color and what they do. I drew it and I colored it and I put it on my wall, and I would look at it every day at 16 years old, which is probably not natural for most kids, but I wanted to know it. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be my father. And so just seeing that and seeing all those things work together, I don't know what it was, but it just ignited something in me that I just had to know. I had to know what he did. I had to know how this worked and how to be that person, how to help people, because clearly people need help. And I would say that was the defining moment that I still remember to this day. A clear picture in my mind.
I remember an instance, Roman, where you helped Eric and I out when he was at my house looking at my system, which was acting wonky, and you just jumped right in. He was texting you, as I recall, and
Pictures,
recommended a bunch of stuff. I think it was it was a Saturday or something. It wasn't, you were just helping out, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it's funny. Someone called me the other day from our company, but it was like after hours. And I have a problem where I love answering the phone. And I say it's a problem. My wife thinks it's a problem, right? After hours. And I get it. I am trying to still balance the work-life balance. When you're really passionate about something, sometimes you get these blinders on where you don't stop. And so I rely on my spouse to help me keep those boundaries in check, because it is important. It's very important to have a healthy balance in lifestyles there between family time and work time. Anyways, I took the phone call. I was driving home, and he just wanted to talk about, it's from our electrical department. He just wanted to talk about harmonics and harmonic distortion, and that he'd read something online and that no one in our company had a whole lot of information about it. And he just wanted to talk about it. And I was like, man, like, these are moments that I live for. It's me thinking like, this is my kid on the other side of the phone, and they literally want to know about harmonic distortion and how it creates problems on high voltage lines and then with inverters and drives, VFD drives, stuff like that. And so when Eric texts me, and it's something that I know a lot about and I love to talk about it, it's hard to just be like, no, I'm good. And I don't know how people do it. They're just like, yeah, no, it's not work time. I'm not getting paid for this. And it's like, man, I live for these moments. He's talking about oscilloscopes. He's sending me pictures. And it's like, man, I'll stop pushing my kid on the swing. Let me hold on. Just send me some more pictures. No.
I'll push with one hand, read with the other.
All in all, he's rolling down the hill in our backyard. And it's like, no, I'm just kidding. Those things excite me. And I just enjoy it because, again, like you said, there's not a lot of information out there on some of these things. And if there is something that I can add value and help somebody with a real world problem, then I want to do that. I want to be that guiding light if I can.
You mentioned a YouTube channel. Is that still running? You still feeding it?
Yep.
What's it called?
It's just my name. It's Roman Baugh. That's it. I know it's super complicated, but it's one of those things that I made a video 3 years ago when I worked for the manufacturer. And it was just one of those creative moments. I had just done a training class for a company that sells Daikin VRF equipment. And we did a technical service class. I just got certified in teaching their latest technical course, Service and Troubleshooting Level 2, which not a lot of people in the country, I guess, are certified in. And after that class, I just remember how curious the guys were and all the questions they asked, that there was just something inside me that was like, I got to make a video about this. And so everybody left, and I was like 8:00. And they're like, yeah, just lock up when you're done. I set my GoPro up on a table and I recorded myself in front of a whiteboard. I had no script, no idea what I was doing, just talking about what I knew. And from that video, it's called the 3 Pillars video that I did a long time ago. You'll see it's like the oldest video on my channel. It's got like 15,000 views now. And that video 3 years ago, everybody loved it. But then the manufacturer's like, well, you can't really make videos working here and talking about stuff. So I was like, okay. So when I left and I came here to Kalos, I was like, I'm going to do that again. And then I just got so busy that I forgot about it. And then when we started pursuing VRF and building VRF service teams here at Kalos, it was one of those things where I started making videos to teach our techs internally. And then I think I started putting them on YouTube and sharing them. And then I realized I think I might have made one public by accident. I'm not really great with technology, surprisingly. And from there, it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, people still want this. People still care about this. Like, people need this information. And then it just snowballed from there of just like People would send me questions and I just make a video. Like I would just sit down and I just make a video. And Ty has helped me a lot with that. I have to say, Ty Brenneman, about video editing and stuff like that. I knew nothing about it. And Brian the same way. We've got a podcast now, which I would have never seen myself doing in a million years. But it's, again, just one of those curiosities where the information sometimes lives with only one person, or maybe 5 people, or maybe 10 people in the country. And the likelihood of you finding that person in a short period of time, in less than a year or 2 years or 3 years, it's all about who you know, is really slim. And so if I can put that content out public facing where anybody in the world can get it by just searching a word on the internet, because that's where we're at technology wise, then why am I not doing that? And that's where it just started. And then it's taken off from there. And so I think I've got like 60 videos now, ranging from all over different stuff. And sometimes I'll come in spurts and I'll get a bunch of videos done and I'll put them all on the channel because I'm impatient. Once I make them, I'm like, they got to go up right now.
Don't hold them back.
I don't care if the quality sucks. I just put it out there. Who cares? And then there's times where like we just get really busy here at Kalos or all the other things that I'm doing. And then I don't have time to make them. And so I'll write the ideas down and I'll eventually get to it again. But yeah, it's been surprisingly well received and people do like it. And so I have not stopped and I probably won't stop.
We'll be sure to put a link to it. Did you say there's another podcast you do?
Yes, I do a lot of podcasts. I get around, it seems. Obviously, we have the HVAC School podcast, which I'm a part of. But then also, I have a podcast with a good friend of mine, Donald Felice. He's with a mechanical rep out in California, and it's called the VRF Tech Talk podcast. We do about one a month because that's about as easy as it comes for us to get done. We have no sponsors, which we like, and that's good. But it's just one of those things where he's in California time, I'm here in Florida. And so when the calendars align and he's not busy and I'm not busy, we do an episode. And that stemmed from a Facebook group that we have called VRF Tech Talk. And that was just a group of guys that I found on the internet that had similar passions to mine that were doing the same thing. They were answering questions and helping people with problems on Facebook. And I was like, man, who are these people? And so I jumped in and joined and started helping people along the way. And we all gravitated like planets in the universe towards like a black hole. We all collided. And now I've got these people that I met on the internet, which is current day technology, some of my best friends. And we've been talking probably every day for 6 years now. And out of that group of small friends that I got that are equally as passionate, who have same experience, if not more, really smart guys in different walks of life, we just got tired of seeing the stories of people not getting help or being told the wrong thing. And it was just like, this information has got to get out there. And so if not us, then who? And it wasn't pretty when we started. We had no idea what we were doing. Still don't, but that's okay. It's just pick a topic that a lot of people ask questions about and just keep talking about it until we've covered everything. And then you're good. And that's just what it's become.
And by the time you've covered everything, something new will have come along and you'll have to talk about that too.
Yes. It's funny because you come in those spurts where like you feel like what you're doing doesn't have a huge impact on people. But we sometimes forget that it's the small things that we do consistently every day and the things that we're involved in that regardless of whether we think they have impact or not, they always do. And so if you're on the fence about deciding to do something, just do it. Who are you waiting for? And one of those things that I had to learn early on in my career, being like a 21-year-old running a construction project where there's guys who are 40, 50, 60 years old who've got all this experience over me, is just you kind of have to get out of your own mind there and just say to yourself, don't worry about what everybody thinks about you. Forget about what people's opinion about you is. Focus on what the motive is. What's the motive? If it's helping people and it's genuine, then don't worry about it. Just do it. Just put it out there. What if it's imperfect? What if people make fun of you? Who cares? Is if it helps one person, then it's worth it. If all the things that you go through and all the pain and all the heartache and the stuff like that, if it helps one person, it's worth its weight in gold. And that's something that I learned early on in my career that I just try to apply to everything I do.
To just do it, but be open to feedback. I think that's, especially if you're in early stages, but always be open to feedback.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think about that? I like your feedback.
No, yeah. What a segue, man. This guy's a professional. That's it. So it's not caring what other people think, but understanding that there are going to be trusted advisors in your life who have that experience, who do want the best for you, that you should always listen to. They're your sounding boards. And for me, that's my wife and other people like Brian and you guys, both of you. You guys, it's just understanding who you can trust in that regards. And then if they are telling you, no, you shouldn't do that, or hey, be careful of this, or hey, maybe avoid that, or hey, I want to add some feedback here to say, you should probably do this, or I would change that, or it's all out of love. And that's the thing. We so easily, as human beings, we're subjected to a ton of heartache throughout our lives and in hard times and all these things. We forget that there are people out there who still do things just out of love and kindness. And it's tough that we forget that sometimes, that we are all human beings and We should want the best for each other.
I'll bring a quote up. That's maybe not the exact perfect quote, but look for the helpers. That's something Mr. Rogers said, Fred Rogers, who's also a fellow Pittsburgher like I am. And I think if you look for the helpers in different stages of life, it really helps you get through.
I would say that too. Because again, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And life throws a ton of curveballs at you. The saying is, tell God your plans and he'll laugh. And so it's just one of those things where finding those people in your life, just staying connected and valuing that relationship for what it is.
And become a helper too, in any small way. That's exactly what you were saying there. And that wraps back around to the parenting concept and the love aspect.
Yes.
We talk about lots of stuff on this, don't we?
We do. And we do. I will say this. So they say, have kids, they'll teach you patience. And that's usually just like a brick against the head a couple of times.
Sometimes literally.
And sometimes literally. That's what hospitals are for. So with that, my kids have taught me a lot. And some of that is whether it is intentional, unintentional, just this thing where I have learned to be a better instructor, teacher, educator, even though I still feel like a service technician out in the field on a truck. I don't feel like a leader. I don't feel like a educator. I don't feel like an influencer. People have used that word. And so it's just one of those things where I watch my kids and in teaching them, they teach me more than I teach them sometimes, for most of the time, actually. And I find ways to apply what they're trying to teach me and how we interact and what we do and apply that to my life where I can. And it's been great. Yeah, it's been really good. I'd say having kids is probably the best thing I've done with my life, hands down.
So I want to dive into a little bit more of your technical. Obviously, you do a lot with VRF.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Let's see. Podcast, Facebook group. Yeah, work for manufacturer. How did you come into, I guess, really learning and focusing so much on the VRF segment of the larger HVAC sphere?
I had a job where it completely chewed me up and spit me out. So we go through these ebbs and flows in our career where we think we know everything, and then something comes in and it humbles us, whether we ask for it or not. I've learned to just ask for it from God and say, listen, if you're going to humble me, do it now. I'm all for it. Let's do it. But don't let me get too far down this road before something happens to me, because I've been there. But this equipment, so I took the class. I was young, confident, took the class, got all certified back when it was an 8-hour class. Now it's a 16-hour class, and now there's 4 days worth of stuff. And I was super confident. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And so we did our first job as a bank, what used to be BB&T Bank in Orlando. And man, I thought I was like the bee's knees at the time. I added service valves everywhere, ball valves, followed all the rules. Like I could recite the manual to you just because I was all in. And I knew that this technology was the future at the time because it was just so mystical. And that probably had something to do with my instructors at the time, just the way they talked about it and stuff like that. The job did not go well. When we went to go turn the equipment on, it was a nightmare. It would not run. It would not run. And the factory rep that came out to support us, they couldn't figure it out in 3 days. They told us to rewire everything. And it was the way that the wires were landed on the screw terminals was the problem because they weren't exactly straight on the screw terminals. And that was the reason why the communication wouldn't work.
Holy cow.
And that's not actually a thing, just so you know. That's not a real... It's them not knowing and then just shooting from the hip with, it's not me, it's you, which is a really bad way to deal with things that you don't know. It's okay to say you don't know. I don't know. Like people need to practice that. I don't know. And find somebody who does. Long story short, by the time we got it fixed and got it all up and running and everything was good to go after the grueling process, come to find out one of the service ball valves was closed. And we ended up opening it. And in the process of opening it, everything ran, everything went through test operation, and it finished great. And I just remember thinking of how grueling that week was and how horrible it was. And I was like, I got to figure this stuff out. This thing chewed me up and spit me out. I know nothing. I'm like starting over as like an apprentice here. And because of that, I dove in head first. And I left that company to go work with another person that I knew in the industry who was already doing service work and that stuff. And we worked together for 6 years. And I did just that. I worked on this every single day for 6 years, in and out. I've seen everything. I was reporting problems to the manufacturer. We were doing warranty work for the manufacturer. And so I lived and breathed it for 6 years. And I just got to the point where I decided like, okay, what's next? Because business ownership, I will tell you, is a grueling, bloody, it's rough. Like those guys out there running businesses, I have so much respect for them. The Bryans of the world, the guys out there who are still running mechanical companies because it's what they feel called to do because it's brutal, man. A door opened to the factory. which never happens. Either the people get fired, which never happens, or someone passes away, Lord forbid, and a spot opens up on the factory technical service level at the highest level to support a region, a global region. And it was just after COVID, and COVID opened the eyes of manufacturers to where they said, like, maybe you don't have to live where you support your territory. And so I covered 15 states in the central US remotely from Florida. And from there, I was able to sit down and actually talk to the Japanese engineers and work with the Japanese engineers and get to know the product on a manufacturing level, to where the way they design it and how it's designed for different tolerances and how it fails, and see this, all the software side and the software updates and all the things that go into something like that. I just soaked it up like a big old sponge and just outgrew my pot really quickly because of that thirst for knowledge. I wanted to know everything, whatever it was. If it was in Japanese, we got Google Translate. I'll translate the document. I don't care. And that just kind of snowballed. The thing that chewed me up and spit me out, instead of running the opposite way, I couldn't get enough. Like, I was telling myself, this isn't going to happen to me again. And how do I keep that from happening? That's by just tripling down on education and just consuming any knowledge I could get my hands on at the time. Reading service manuals, memorizing service manuals, field tested knowledge, stuff like that. Yeah. And here I am today. I still can't stop. So
You ran into the fire and you rescued your future self.
that's it. Like, it was a giant dumpster on fire. And I was like, jumping in, let's do it. What's a few burns? I could wrap my burns. I'll heal. It'll be fine. And I think a lot of that comes back to some of us as technicians, that feeling you get from helping people, that feeling you get from solving problems that are what seem like unsolvable to other people, or even yourself at the time. The feeling you get from that, it's kind of addicting. It's like a high, if you will, in itself. And so we'll find that some of the best service technicians, one, they're ADHD, but two, they're kind of adrenaline junkies. They enjoy not knowing. What is this? I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out and we're going to fix it. And it's that. And so that right there, that mindset alone, just being okay with failing, just being okay with failure and knowing that you will survive, that right there is what has propelled me throughout my career in the right direction every single time.
Yeah, it's a form of bravery, but not without introspection. Figure out where you're at and don't keep failing. I mean, don't turn into a con artist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that mustache again, I'm sorry, it's giving me that vibe.
It even came with a comb. So,
Jeez.
I mean, I bought a comb because I grew this mustache. Yeah, it's not fake at all. I will say my father as a role model helped a lot too. So my father, he was a dropout of high school. Felt like he wasn't going to amount to anything. He joined the Marine Corps at 17, where he actually, I guess he got a GED and then clept it out or whatever, and joined the Marine Corps. And then soon, right out of basic boot camp, he hopped on another truck like an idiot. He was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, sure. Force Recon School. Why not? What I got to lose? And he became an actual Special Forces Marine. And he did that for 4 years, jumping out of airplanes behind enemy lines. He's got a few Bronze Stars, wild stories. He's got a story from him where he fell off of a mountain and broke his back. Just crazy stuff that you would not think of, things that you see in the movies. He lived that life and he survived it somehow. And he was actually a drill instructor for a short period of time. And then he was a military police officer. And so he had seen everything. And he had just been beat up and just tore his body to pieces. And yet he just kept coming back for more. He just didn't quit. And so I used to tell myself in my hard times, struggling in my current role or my life, whatever the problem was, I would think about like the things that he went through in his life and how little this was compared to the things that he had to overcome. And so if he can do it, I can do it. Anybody can do it. And just that mindset of there's somebody out there who's got it way worse than you do. And so sure, could you have a pity party? Yeah, probably. Or just focus on what the future holds and knowing that this will pass. This will end. It has to come to an end. It will. And whatever that ending is what's going to happen anyways. And so just focusing on that positivity of understanding that there's something to be learned from failure. And we should always be looking under those rocks of those failures to say, what did I miss? What can I learn from this? In my opinion, that's the driving force that I try to use in my mind to stay focused.
Before we started the recording here, we talked about a product that you have helped with.
Yeah. So great guy, Kevin Mates out of New Jersey. He actually worked for the factory at the time. He was working for Hitachi as a regional technical service manager, whatever they call those technical service guys. So he supported the VRF product for Hitachi, JCI, and I found him on Facebook in the group. We all started talking and he saw the videos that I was posting about fixing things. And a friend of mine, Ryan, who works at Daikin Comfort now, he actually took my job. And he was like, hey, have you heard of this guy? He's got a tool that he's been working on. And it does this. And he's like, I've been trying it out for like a month and it's pretty cool. Let me connect you. And so we got connected and we started talking. And so he sent me like the first version of it. And I just used it like every day. And I just started fixing things with it and started troubleshooting things with the EEV Mate tool, manual EEV driver. And from there, I couldn't get enough of it. And so I was telling everybody about it. I was like, hey, this helps me. It should help you too. You should get it. And from there, it got more popular. We started talking about more problems to solve as technicians. And that evolved into, man, these magnet donuts from the factory. It's like $220 for this teeny little magnet. And it's like, there's got to be a better solution to this. Like, this isn't rocket science. Why can't we have an affordable product that's made for technicians that solves these problems where there's these headaches? Like, it's too small, it falls down, it doesn't work every time. Well, why is that? So we peeled that back and apart. And from there, we just, again, a great group of guys all together working together to do this. And I do that with Donald too as well. So this is a group of guys where we, technicians who see a problem, think that there's a better way. Okay, there is. And we just apply a little bit of science to it and determination. And the next thing you know, it's a product that we 3D print. 3D printing has come a long way over the years and allows anybody to build whatever they want to. From there, it is what it is now. I mean, you can't keep it on your shelves at True Tech Tools.
Right.
And so thanks, Ty, for that. And it's just one of those things where the focus wasn't making money. The focus wasn't like, where's their untapped potential in the market to squeeze some dimes out? No, the premise behind it was, we're a bunch of technicians. There's got to be a cheaper, better way to do this. I think we could figure it out. Let's just fumble our way through it and fail a bunch of times and then find a way to fix it. And it worked. And then from there, it's, you don't believe us, try it. And it works. And so I wish we had more of that. And I think Chris Stevens talked about it recently on his channel about how we're like in this lull of innovation where we're just, manufacturers aren't really developing products. We're not really developing new tools because there's just, for them, there's no money in it. There's not maybe not that much money in their potential for that. But as technicians, we're like, man, I could really use something if it did this. And just tripling down to say, well, I'll do it. No one wants to do it. I'll do it. Sure. What do I got to lose? And see what happens. And that's what EEV8 is. It started with technicians and it still is technicians. And we're working on some new tools now to do both for refrigeration and also VRF. So yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Very cool. One of the other things you're really known for, and I just wanted to give a shout out to this real quick, and maybe we talk about your interest in oscilloscopes here, because you're really known for a series you did here recently on HVAC School about oscilloscopes, but you've done a ton of videos on them and really highlighted their use in the communications world of HVAC, which we are seeing more and more communications coming out, whether it be in residential products, commercial products. We're getting away from that voltage signal and we're doing this communications thing. So you want to just touch on that a little bit and see where you see that going in the industry?
It's one of those things, and this happens a lot, where we get a technology and the industry as a whole triples down on education. And everybody's doing scientific studies and publishing journals and books and how-to guides and all that. That was the 1960s. And around radio waves and radio wave technology and EMF and all these crazy things. And then somewhere along the way, we lost our way as an industry. And for whatever reason that is, not looking to point fingers, we just got into this lull of AC equipment does what AC equipment does. And then let's just live with what we got. And now we've got this wave of inverter technology, which has been around for Lord knows forever. If you're on my LinkedIn channel, you'll see the history posts that I put out there about how old this technology is and how long it's been around since the 80s.
1980s for all you young kids out
Yeah.
What a simpler time that was. Mustaches specifically. So you got this tool that's called an oscilloscope. And it's like a meter that can slow down time and see really, really, really small voltage differences over time in a picture. Of all things, not even like numbers, just a picture. And it was the go-to for building computers for the longest time. It was hard to go anywhere in the 1900 era where there wasn't oscilloscopes and some technological advancement for testing materials. And then we just, in a way, lost it, where it was like, we don't talk about it. It's not a thing. Nobody knows what it is. It's been such a long time since anybody's really talked about it that like, we don't even know that's a thing anymore. It's like, well, wait a minute. This tool's been around forever. I've got a 20-year-old oscilloscope. I think it's like 24 years old, which was like cream of the crop at the time. And it actually comes in a giant suitcase because of how heavy it is. But it was that thing where it's like, you couldn't do it without it. And somewhere we lost that along the way. And now it's like, guys, we need to talk about this more. Why aren't we using this for this? Or why aren't we using it for that? Because again, when we talk about communicating equipment, it's extremely difficult to troubleshoot some of these things. And I don't like being told no. And I'm okay with no with some things. But when it comes to like, hey, why do we do it this way? Well, because we do. And I'm like, okay, but why do we do that? Give me some science behind that. Put some science on it. And they're just like, well, it's just because I don't know, that's what the manual says. That's what they told us. I don't know. People say that. I don't know. And it's like, okay, but somebody has to know why we do this. Why are you telling me we can't actually troubleshoot inverter boards? Why are you telling me we can't troubleshoot communication wires? Well, because they say you just change the board. Okay, but is anybody going to like push back on the status quo here to say why? There's got to be a way. Like they built the board. Somebody used an oscilloscope to design the dang thing to make sure it works. Why can't we teach to use that to troubleshoot it in the field to actually find the real problem? And that's where we're at now. And it's like, man, I taught myself everything I know about oscilloscopes. And I don't say that to be like a humble brag, but I say that because there's nobody to teach me. And maybe there is. I'm sure people out there listening, and maybe there's people that love oscilloscopes like I do. But it was one of those mysteries. So I found something I knew nothing about that I couldn't figure out. And I wanted to learn everything I could about it. And I did. And I spent a lot of time researching and developing. And I'm still learning new things. There's people out there, a gentleman named Andrew Holden, who's become a close friend of mine recently. He's just a smart guy. He was writing math equations. Like he does math for fun. Like we're talking extremely complex equations. And he knew more about oscilloscopes than I did. And so we just started talking and I would ask him questions and he would show me something. And then he would ask me questions about air conditioning. It was just kind of this trade of knowledge. And I feel like it's one of those things where a lot of people don't know they exist and not a whole lot of people know how to use them. And so why can't we break that down into an easy, digestible format where this doesn't have to be some, oh, look at me, I know oscilloscopes. It's got to be easier than that. Why can't we just make it digestible for everybody to use? And these things are cheap. This is cheaper than a meter, the one behind me on my desk. It was like $100.
They've changed a lot over the years. I cut my teeth on oscilloscopes when oscilloscopes had more than one tube in them.
Including the display?
Including the display.
That was a tube, right?
Yeah, because that was a tube back
CRT,
in the day.
Yeah.
It was a CRT and they were huge and heavy. And now, I mean, you can pick one up and put it in your pocket if you want to and carry it around, some of them. As with everything else, technology has evolved quickly. Now, sometimes they're still not easy to set up though. But that's where that 5-part series you came in, I think did an absolutely fantastic job. And I wanted to point that out and thank you for that because it's something that I see the industry looking and needing more of.
I would not disagree. It's the same thing when I come across a chemistry question and I blow up Rachel Kaiser's phone about like, I got to know. And then she's like, that's not how any of that works. And I'm like, you tell me how it works then because I need to know. It's one of those things where if you don't know a whole lot about it, you don't need to. You just need to know where the information is and have enough curiosity to push you in the right direction to learn it.
With that, I'm going to say you've covered a lot of different topics, but I think it centers back to, I wrote down some notes here, curiosity and passion in running into something. You've done it numerous times in your life, running into something that you didn't know enough about, but you were bothered by it. What kind of summary thought you want to leave our listeners with?
My summary thought is this. There are so many people in your life that are going to tell you what you should do with your life. And whether that is focused around being financially stable or getting a good job or doing something in technology. I know that growing up, my thing that all the parents were saying was be an X-ray technician. Go to school for X-ray technician because it makes good money.
Because they read it in the Sunday paper.
Sure. Yeah. Or saw it on the news. And when did we stop telling people, find something you're passionate about and just chase it? Just don't stop chasing it. Because it's one of those things where forget about the money. And sure, we have to have money to provide for our families to live. We have to eat food. Maybe you need shelter. I don't know. Maybe like it outside. But it's one of those things where if you find something you're passionate about, something that tickles at the back of your brain for curiosity, and you just chase it, the money will find you. The career will find you. You will find that in just chasing that and feeding that curiosity and not playing into the doom scrolling that our society has fallen into over time, where it's funny because we get so stuck in social media where it's like, I just need to look at the next thing. Well, the thing is, what people don't realize is that looking at those images and videos, they're trying to feed their curiosity, but it's the wrong way to do it. And the right way is to find something that you're passionate about, something that you really want to know about, and then just going all the way in. What do you have to lose? And chasing that.
Just usually I don't do this and interrupt, but I think falling in love with something, getting that passion is a process and it feeds back on it. I think some people look at something that they want and they said, that's my passion. But you don't know until you start going down that road and start to work it.
Yes. And so to my story at the beginning of all this, auto mechanic, screw packing. I did landscaping. Just, again, you have to be okay with spending time doing something, knowing that it's probably not going to work out for you. And that's okay. That's okay. I want you to fail so that you figure out what you really do enjoy, what you do love. And so as long as you don't take those failures personally, as long as you don't take them to heart, and knowing that this is a process that takes time, to the point where my wife spent her entire life trying to figure out what her passion was. And she fought it because it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you don't know. When you don't know something, it's frustrating. That's across the spectrum for anything. For her, she had kids and we grew a family, and she's teaching our kids, and her passion is our children. And it's just one of those things where, like, when you stop looking for it and just enjoy what you have in front of you and just start living in your life and being active in your life, not passive, in the decisions that you make and the things that you do, and being intentional with the stuff that we do every day, it will find you. You'll be like, man, I'm always coming back to this. I'm always ending up back here, and I like it, and it feels good, and I enjoy it, and I might even love it. What if I learn everything there is about that? What if I get really good at that? If it's making coffee, it's making coffee. I love coffee. And the science behind coffee is wild. It's just one of those things where, like, you just have to be okay to chase those rabbit trails, knowing that they may be dead ends, but they're building on something much greater in your life that are going to amount to something that's going to change your life. And you never know where that's going to take you. So don't limit yourself, and don't limit your curiosity or your passion.
Thank you. That's a wonderful discussion here. I really appreciate you coming on at short notice. But hey, man, you ran into the fire.
No, listen, it's one of those things. And I say this all the time, and I don't know why, because I'm not a huge fan of basketball, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That was hockey, by the way.
Oh, is it hockey? Oh, see.
Yeah. That shows you're not a fan of two sports.
It's one of those sports balls. Gosh dang. So it's one of those things where you have to tell yourself, what if I fail? What if you succeed? What if you are really great at it? What if you help a bunch of people? What if you change the industry or the world? You don't know. And so stop telling yourself, what if, in the wrong sense, and use it to fuel your fire and say, what if I'm amazing at this? What if I help a bunch of people? It's just one of those things. It's mindset, changing that mindset and having that idea. And so for here, this could have been a horrible show, and it might still be. We have to go back and watch it again, right? So give us some feedback there. No, but it's one of those things where if you are honest, hardworking, creative, just take the risk. What do you have to lose? And that's exactly what this is, taking the risk. No preparation, no script, no nothing. Nope. Just jump into it. And guess what? You might just be okay on the other side.
Thank you, Roman. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Roman. Really appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. This podcast is a production of TrueTech Tools Limited. And full disclosure, I'm the owner of TrueTech, and the opinions expressed are those of my guests, my co-host, or myself, depending on who is speaking, of course. If you're in the market for any tools or test instruments, mention our podcast or otherwise, take a look at what TrueTechTools.com offers, TrueTechTools.com. And you can use the offer code HVACBS for a nice discount. Some of the topics we discuss require technical training for proper interpretation or safe execution. So if you're trained pro, you can proceed immediately. If you're not, please consult with and hire a trained pro. We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast and learned something from our discussion with Roman Baugh on running into the fire, curiosity, VRF, and the rise of Roman Baugh. Until next time, take care.